Um, in this video, I will try to adopt a speculative consideration of schizophrenia, because God is a schizophrenic process, and I am, as every other human, made in the image of God, and I myself suffer from schizophrenia. And I've bought a book called Schizophrenia, to how to recognize and cure it. And I've just read the introduction, and what I want anyone to understand is that dialectics, which is the very process of God, according to Hegelian logic, that which brings forth uh, the logical development, the world of nature and all its processes, and the processes of consciousness and spirit, that dialectics is nothing but conceptual schizophrenia. It's a splitting of being within itself, a splitting of the mind, and um, an inner negativity which produces all movement and change. And the author of the book about schizophrenia says that it is often thought to be not explainable, incomprehensible, and he says it's an absolute conceptual chaos. But in Hegel's logic, the concept is the mind of God, and the concept is its own negativity, and the chaos is produced by the concept as long as he does not bring back into himself the rational understanding of the entire historical, natural, logical, and spiritual process. And this conceptual chaos is brought back into order by the very movement of the concept itself, the concept according to Hegel. And the book says that the idea that schizophrenia is incomprehensible, beyond understanding, is outdated. What is beyond understanding for Hegel is not that which cannot be understood. It's that means that the categories that the understanding, in German der Verstand, which is the mind of Kant, if you will, the categories of the transcendental ego in Kant, cannot grasp an idea, because it is always dualistic, whereas the truth, religious truth, philosophical truth, is a unity of opposed determinations, and this is beyond understanding. It's what Hegel calls reason, Vernunftigkeit, which is speculative understanding of the self and of the world and of God. So he talks about the mystery of schizophrenia, but what is mysterious for Hegel is that which is not grasped by the understanding, and what is mystical is what is speculative, is that which reason, and for Hegel reason is speculative and mystical, these are synonymous. The mysteries are only understandable by rational speculative thinking. And then he says that there are subjects who suffer from this disease, and the subject, the patient, but the subject in Hegel's view is the splitting of the mind in itself, because the subject divides itself and is always confronted with an object that it first considers to be exterior to it and different from himself. And the whole process of consciousness, of world consciousness, aims at nothing other than re-establishing the identity of the subject and the object, to cure the schizophrenia in a way. It is characterized by an impossibility to act. And strictly speaking, God is absolutely active and also absolutely passive, because he's the cause and the consequence of his own process. So he is both free and determined. He freely determines himself, and he's determined to become free. That's a unity of opposed determinations. And it is characterized by laziness and violence. Um, and then he says that people who suffer from schizophrenia feel fragmented, but every human being unconsciously feels fragmented, because every human mind is a part of the one cosmic mind, and they have all lost their unity with God. And the process of consciousness consists in re-establishing this unity, to remember the divine unity. And to remember means to bring back all the members separated and fragmented together. The author says that we should not judge the patients negatively or positively, but try to interpret, to understand the behavior of the patients who suffer from schizophrenia, and to interpret their behavior as a consequence of their disease. And this will shed a new light on this disease, so that this idea that by rationally explaining and understanding, you bring forth light and you enlighten what was in the dark. And yeah, and he says that the patients who suffer from schizophrenia deserve that such a book as this shall be made and produced for them. But in truth, it is God himself who suffers from schizophrenia, and the book, which has been produced for God to understand his own dialectical process, is Die Wissenschaft der Logik, the science of logic, by Hegel. So yeah. Then it says that schizophrenia is sometimes associated with madness and psychosis, and the borders between reason and unreason, or irrationality, are sometimes difficult to grasp. But what ordinary people call reason is what the Germans called Verständigkeit, which is scientific understanding, and what they call lack of reason or irrationality is what Hegel calls Vernunftigkeit, which is precisely rationality in Hegel's view, mystical and speculative grasping of things. And then he says how to understand an other better than by taking his point of view. And God is his own other, and he wants to hear the point of view of the others, nature, mankind, which are a manifestation of himself, so that he might understand himself. And the book says that it wants to introduce the patients in the universe of schizophrenia, and the universe of schizophrenia is our universe, because God is a dialectical process, and all that is made manifest is a product of this dialectical self-interaction within God's mind. And a universe means in Latin that which is turned towards the unity, towards the one. So a universe is a one which has become many, and a many which is in the process of becoming one again. And the universe of schizophrenia is our universe, and it is made intelligible in Hegel's logic. So yeah.